Good morning, everyone. My name is Janine, and I'm going to be reporting on the Aboriginal people and their early contributions to healthcare. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the newly colonizing European Canadians were dying of fevers, infection, and childbirth, and their only saving grace was the healing and holistic work of the Aboriginal women. This is largely forgotten in the history books, and I would like to take a minute to remember and thank the Canadian Aboriginal people for their contributions to medicine and for their sacrifices throughout history, and a special thank you to the Ktunaxa Aboriginal Nation from here in Cranbrook. The Aboriginal people's knowledge of local plant-derived medicines and expertise in mending bones, treating pain, and helping women through childbirth was the difference between life and death for European Canadians. Interrelations between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people was heavily frowned upon, but this was near to impossible considering that the Westerners were the minority, comparing 9,000 Aboriginal people to 4,900 Westerners in Alberta in 1885. Aside from the healing and midwifery work, there was no access to healthcare or doctors. Even as Canadian cities began to expand, physicians preferred to remain in urban areas versus rural to solidify a better wage. There are several diary and memoir entries that demonstrate the healing practices of the Aboriginal women. One example is a diary from a mother in Saskatchewan. The Indian woman took in the situation at a glance. She pushed aside the terrified mother and picked up the ailing child. By signs, she indicated hot water from the kettle on the stove. Into it, she put a pinch of herbs from the pouch slung around her waist. She cooled the brew and forced some of it between the blue lips of the infant. Soon, the gasping subsided, and the sweat broke to cool the fevered skin. The baby relaxed into a peaceful, natural sleep, cradled in the arms of the crooning Indian woman. The mother, to her dying day, remained grateful. However, this grateful would not last amongst Canadians. At the same time that the Aboriginal women are saving the European Canadians' lives, the Department of Indian Affairs is hiring individuals to suppress Indigenous cultural activities. Prior to 1884, the Indian Act dealt with property matters, Indian government, and education. Moving forward, a law banning all potluck or giveaway ceremonies was passed in 1885 and then again in 1895, creating Section 114, which prohibited the Sundance and similar other cultural ceremonies. Next, negative images were portrayed of Aboriginal women. This made the Westerners uncomfortable in their presence. These images depicted the Aboriginal women as shameless prostitutes. The use of Aboriginal medicine was discouraged, and Aboriginal people were not allowed in towns without pass or permission. Failure to provide a pass could result in their hair being cut off. Later, the use of Aboriginal medicine was prohibited, and Aboriginal people were exiled and persecuted.
Created using Powtoon.